What's up, guys? I'm gonna make this a quick, and I do mean quick, VOD review for Tempest Keep. I'll put this up on YouTube for anyone that's not here currently. First things first, if you step into this raid and your pet is not spec'd for this raid, hearth out and force your guild to resummon you because your pet needs to be spec'd for this raid. In the description, I'll put the proper spec or one that I use. That really helps a lot. That's the first thing. Second thing, make sure your consumes are up, good to go. And let's just hop right into it, guys. I'll turn my volume down a little bit. I've got both weapons enchanted, both elixirs. Food buff is up. I've got my scroll. My pet is also fully buffed, even with Devil Sword Tooth. It's important. And yeah, here we go. This first trash pack is kind of a bitch because you're pulling it in a very small hallway. So I'm just running back and forth trying to stay alive, trying to make sure my pet stays alive. My pet's already dropping low. I'm already steam tonking like 10 seconds into the fight. And it's kind of just a mad rush. I pop on my CDs, I keep running, the raid's taking a lot of damage. It's very chaotic. If your raid CCs any of these mobs, make sure that you guys just use Arcane Shot immediately after you're steady, as opposed to multi. You don't want to break the sheep, don't be that guy. Yeah, pumping damage. Obviously I'm not coming anywhere near the warrior, the mage, the warlocks, but I'm still doing, pretty well. I've used both trinkets already. We're cleaning up the rest of it. And then one thing you're going to watch out for, especially if you're pulling fast, guys, is keeping on top of your mana. I think I use a mana pot here if I'm not mistaken. Alright, so mana pot. I'm going to drink run a little bit. And same deal here. Get right for the next pull. We do not sheep or CC any of these mobs. Oh, yes, we do. I'm sorry. There's a pig in the back. I'm waiting. I use my multi-shot there when I make sure that nothing can touch that pig in the back. Same deal, guys. Standard stuff. Trash pack stuff. I think I went in and sappered there. So on the first pack, I use a super sapper. Second pack, goblin sapper. Notice how I'm using explosive traps as well. With how many mobs there are and how densely packed the mobs are in this hallway, you can easily get big explosive traps for lots of damage. Try not to lose a GCD though. If you can do it without losing a GCD, you're playing optimally. A lot of people I see close too big a distance to try to get a trap down, and they lose overall DPS as a result. So try not to do that. Sometimes it's difficult, but do your very best. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. Trash is trash. Same deal. We're going to keep killing it all. These packs are a little bit weird. Every guild does these differently. I'm staying on these, even though I should probably be attacking the Falconers. You can get explosive traps on these as well. Sappers, I think, do decent damage. Giant AoE packs, so you can really pump multi-shots into them too. And then make sure that you try not to pull the second one while you're killing these. We get really close here, which is no bueno, and it does end up pulling eventually. I think that we do recover. We've got one shaman dead. And I'm pretty much just pumping damage. Noting here how, guys, I'm keeping mana pots and CD. I don't think I use any dark runes here, but if you do need to and you have the gold to do it, I'd say go for it. Right here I should probably be dark runing because I think I go pretty but I've got mana pot coming up very soon. But I'm just chilling. I'm kind of low on mana, so I'm not really using arcane shot. I'm keeping multi-shot on CD though. Saving my mana pot. It gets up. And then here, right when this pack is cleared, hunters start switching off on the MDs. So I'm going to show you what you should be doing and what you should not be doing. So I think I try to go ahead first. I MD, and watch right here. I try to focus on getting this pull so fast that I miss the fact that there's a second bird right next to it. So being the dumbass that I am, I pull both of these on accident, and we do end up killing both, but I think that for a lot of raids, if you pull both, you might wipe. And due to the fact that I pull both, I lose a lot of personal DPS because I'm only at half mana. I've got Dark Rune and Mana Pot on CD. I try to feign death like an idiot. And the mana burn from both of these just completely destroys my mana pool. So I'm already at, what, 20% off the bat? And I will be auto-attacking for most of this pack. So already I'm at 0 mana. If I'm at 0 mana and these birds are both at full HP, I'm going to be missing out on just a massive amount of raid DPS. So this is part one of my many mistakes in this raid. I swapped to Aspect of the Viper because I have to. I pop my second trinket. I'm throwing steadies out when I can, but I've just got no mana to do anything with, which is really unfortunate. So I'm going to suffer through this pack. Second bird, I start attacking. I can get a few multi-shots here and there, and then as soon as this pack dies, I'm going to drink to full. And hope that another hunter can MD because mine is still on cooldown. So I am drinking. I think another hunter just went up to pull one. Yep, he's on his way right now. And if needed, I can use a mana pot and dark on the next pack, but for right now I'm kind of chilling. I'm at 3/4 mana. Same deal. Typical rotation on a single target. Skipping ahead. I try to go pull, another hunter's already on it though. I'm just going to keep drinking. And then after this pack, I think it's time to pull the boss. So let's skip ahead here. Generally, guys, what I told you last week is I put my pet on the side of the ramp right here. I'm going to skip back a little bit. So on this ramp, I leave my pet like right around here, and I stay him, and then I come back down. And right when the boss gets pulled, I activate all my cooldowns. And the reason I have my pet there is that Bestial Wrath is in LOS of me, and it's in range of me, and I'm able to pull the boss accordingly. I think right here we're waiting for one more Warlock to get online, so we skip ahead of Alar right now. We kill these guys. Typical stuff. Arcane damage comes out if I'm not mistaken. Pets take quite a bit of damage. My pet just took half his HP bar right there. Pretty easy trash packs though. If you need a tonk, do so. If you don't need a tonk, don't do so. Alright. I skip ahead. I think that we come back to Alar here in just a moment. Alright, good. So we do this a little bit differently, at least last week. As a hunter, you're not going to be meleeing Alar. This week we wanted to get a melee off so that our battle chickens would proc. So I'm going to show you how I opened. It's kind of janky. I don't foresee a lot of you guys doing this, but I'm just sharing my VOD, so this is what I do. And this is what I did last week. Skipping ahead. Okay. Okay, so I pop my chicken, I swap back to my second trinket, which is the Brewfest mug, and then what I do here is I make sure the tank gets aggro, I put my pen on him, I melee the boss once so that my chicken starts attacking. And I don't think we get any insta-squawks, but I think that we do get at least one. And, alright, I'm gonna reverse that real fast. As I jump, my pet's right here, I'm about to LOS my pet. So as I'm jumping down, if I don't use Bestial Wrath right here, there's a good chance that my pet won't get it at all, and I'll just miss the buff and have to bring my pet back down. So I pop it as I'm jumping. None of you guys should have to do that, but I did it just to make sure that I got it off. And then right here, I do a typical 2 autos for every 1 steady rotation. Very easy once you get the hang of it. Haste Pot gets used. I'm using multi-shot on cooldown for the most part. Just very typical stuff. Chris had a better opener than I did. He's about 5k DPS ahead of me. I use my second trinket here. I maybe should have waited on this a bit because alarm moves. Alright, so right here is important. When alarm moves, guys, a lot of hunters dash their pets and start running towards Alar as fast as they can. If you just use a pet attack button, your pet will automatically run towards Alar. Don't do that, because if your pet is dashed, he's going to reach Alar before anybody else, and your pet will get one shot. I think that this week our hunters got it right. Last week, I think one of our hunters had his pet die because he just attacked Alar off the bat. Pet ran over. No one else is in the pet's range. Pet one-shots him. That's pretty much your raid fight right there. If you have to res your pet on any fight, it's going to be a massive DPS loss, especially on Alar with all the travel time from downstairs to upstairs. That's just, you're not going to parse. You're not going to do well. So I'm going to stay my pet here. Notice I've got stay used right here. The other hunters should be doing the same. I wait until the tank is somewhat close, and then I throw my pet back that way. He's got dash up. He's going to dash over as soon as I send him on his way. So I play it a little bit safe. I don't want to send him in too fast and cut it close. So I look, I wait. The tank's coming up right now, and then I send my pet in right there. One other thing, guys, you need to be somewhat close to these platforms because otherwise you're out of range for a kill command. So notice how I jump forward a little bit using an arcane shot there. As usual, if you're going to be moving around, try to wait until you have an arcane shot to use because it's DPS that you can use while on the run. So I use it. I Dark Rune there because I'm about 80% mana or so. I'm kind of just staying safe in regards to mana. This is a fairly long fight. Fortunately, our Paladin does keep Judgment of Wisdom up. And then notice how that pet's coming kind of close, but our Feral charged in right before him. I'm going to reverse that real fast, actually. Alright, so right here. This pet's right here. Our Feral tank is right there. As it stands, if our Feral tank does not charge in on Alar, this pet's going to get owned, right? Fortunately, our Feral charged in, barely beat the pet there. Just be safe. If your Feral does not have that presence of mind or your tank, you're not going to make it in time, and your pet will die. So we're going to keep DPSing him down. I think that we get one more platform transition here. I've got my 3-minute CDs, or my 2-minute CDs coming up again soon. I think I use them on the first ground phase. DPS looks good so far. Chris and I are about 10k away from each other. He's got me beat by just a little bit. So again, I stay my pet. I send him in now. He's dashing over. He's way in the back, but he's going to catch up. Alright, so Alar's dead. Due to meleeing at the beginning of the boss, we do have one battle squawk, so that's a nice little 5% melee haste increase. Our pet benefits from it as well. I'm going to bring my pet down. You can bring your pet down, or you can just tonk him here. If your pet's got any HP missing, you might as well tonk him unless you want to risk getting the debuff. I maybe should have just had him follow me down. Tonking is a little bit risky because you can get that debuff from time to time. Group stands together. Melee gets aggro. I think I use CDs here. I do. So, I use my 2 minutes. Rapid Fire is still on cooldown. But I use Bestial Wrath, I use Bloodlust Brooch, and I use Blood Fury. Guys, make sure that your pet is not in the fire here. The fire is kind of hard to see on this boss. It's not a great graphic. So if your pet is in the fire, it looks like he is here, but he's not taking any damage. Just monitor your pet's health bar. That's the best way that I have found to do well on this boss, because relying on your visual acuity to see where the fire is or is not doesn't always work, especially on this fight. I mean, Kael'thas is the same way with his stuff. But if your pet's taking damage, you're bad. If your pet's not taking damage, you're good. I keep Tonk up for this fight just in case. I think I do use it once or twice. But ground phase, I use my CDs off the bat. I want to use my CDs as much as I possibly can. I think I get 3 uses in total on this fight, unless I'm mistaken. Typical boring stuff. He's going to shoot up in the air. Everyone stacks up. I do have Snake Trap down. There's no ads quite yet, so it's not going to do anything. But for the second dive, once the ads are out, you can put the Snake Trap down, and it'll help reduce your raid damage a lot. I cannot tell you guys enough how much that reduces the meteor damage for your entire raid. I send my pet in. I make sure the positioning is good. So right here, I'm watching his health bar very closely. I use my second trinket. I could have used Rapid Fire with that. I chose not to. Just a really simple 5-5-1 run rotation. I got quick shots up, so I'm kind of changing it around a little bit. I get pretty lucky with quick shots here. I think I get 3 in a row. He goes back up in the air. I'm going to be using Snake Trap here on the ads. Dark Runing. I shouldn't Dark Rune before the meteor, but I know that we're going to be taking so little damage that it doesn't really matter. So we take not that much damage. Raid heals up. I'm doing damage to the ads because I'm an idiot trying to maximize damage. I wouldn't do that. And then we're back on the boss. Nice and simple. And I think I've got 2 minutes coming up here fairly soon. I don't know how my uptime is on them this week. Will we get one more phase? Yeah, we're going to get one more phase. So my pet's in fire right here. Notice how he's taking a shit ton of damage. I steam talk. I resummon him. Put him back in. Now, I should have used my 3-minute CDs and 2-minute CDs here, because when the boss comes back out, I do use it, but he flies up in the air. So I use him at a terrible time, guys. I should have used him about 15 seconds beforehand when they came up. I missed out a bunch of uptime. I still got like rank... I was like rank 5 or 10 on this fight, something like that. So it wasn't bad, but I could have definitely got more DPS if I had just used my CDs accordingly. So what we saw there was a complete waste of CDs. Ideally, guys, for each ground phase that you encounter, you want to use them as soon as you can after the meteor comes back down, because in that case, you know you're going to get maximum uptime. We're going to skip ahead. I think that we do Void Reaver first this week. These Void Reaver packs are kind of annoying. Notice, guys, we pull the Pat first. I wait until it's between the middle and the left pack. You can also do the same if it's between the middle and the right pack. Doesn't really matter either way. This guy comes in. He gets blinded. And we go full DPS on the robot. Now you want to LOS these to some degree and bring them in this hallway, or at least this first pack, because they do a giant knockback, and my guild has found out the hard way that if you're in a bad spot during that knockback, you will pull other packs there, and your raid will wipe. If you pull 2 of these packs, it's game over. So I pop CDs here. I'm trying to use my CDs as much as I can, even on trash. This week I really went for overall raid damage. I didn't do too well on it due to a couple mistakes later on in the raid, and that mistake on one of the first few packs. But you want to use your CDs as much as you can during every single raid, trash included. I cannot tell you how many logs I see where people are only using CDs on bosses, or maybe they're only using them once between bosses. You can use them like 2 to 3 times between bosses with these, sometimes even more depending on how long your raid clear is. I'm probably going to skip ahead here, guys. These trash packs are pretty easy once you get the hang of them. In a perfect world, I'd be farther left, so that if he throws a bomb out, the chance of it hitting me is lower. So I do move left right here towards the end. He throws one more bomb out, and me moving saved me from getting hit by a bomb at the end right there. So try to find a spot where you're not going to get hit, you're not around that many people, and you'll reduce your chances of getting hit by those bombs. So same deal. I'm going to skip ahead. I think I use my CDs once more on these packs. Okay. So I keep my pet over here to get Battle Shout from our Fury Warrior. You don't want to dash him in immediately, so notice that when I bring my pet in, he's dashed right now, moving towards the boss, and I have to stay him a couple times. So watch what I do. So my pet's dashing in, I stay him, I wait, I bring him back, I stay him again, and then I put him in. Open with Arcane Shot when I'm positioning. Typical 5-5-1-1. You want to use your CDs as fast as you can here. I get my misdirect out. CDs, haste spot. Typical 2-1. You want to pray that you don't get hit by many Arcane Orbs here, especially during your CD phase, and I think I do get lucky in that regard. This week I got insanely good RNG on this fight. So I think on this fight I had a rank, it was either rank 1 or 2 this week, I'm not sure which, but I did pretty good DPS, and most of that was due to good RNG. So notice, guys, how I'm saving my Arcane Shot for when I have to move. I'm not using Arcane Shot unless I'm moving, because you're going to be moving so much on this fight. If you want to do a 5-5-1-1, I get that. We kind of have the muscle memory to use Arcane Shot when we have any openings in our rotation, but on this fight, you need to resist the urge to do so, because if you have to move left, right, whatever it may be, you can just use a free Arcane Shot as you run. It's free DPS. So I dodge it, I use Arcane Shot. I'm a little bit out of range to use Kill Command here, so I step back in a bit. One more Arcane Orb. Again, Arcane Shot as I move back to the left. I think I do get hit by this one. No, I don't. I barely miss it. Arcane Shot once again. I'm doing good DPS right now. I'm second on the meters. I do get hit by that orb. Bad gameplay on my part. And I think that's the last orb that I get, if I'm not mistaken. I'm kind of staggering a bit, guys. If you have the time to stagger and drop one quick steady and multi-shot, or whatever it may be, as you're dodging an orb, go ahead and do that. 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 Go ahead and And then I can really start pumping here because I'm not having to move at all. This fight is very, very RNG heavy. If you get a lot of orbs, you're not going to do well on DPS. That's just the fact of the matter. You can maximize the amount of DPS you do, even if you do get a lot of orbs, but if you get, you know, anything above 10 or 15, it's going to be tough. I think I only got 6 this week. I think I'm good for the rest of the fight. And notice, I got 6, which means the other hunters got a lot more. Notice I'm ahead because I got so few orbs. So I'm at 270, Chris is at 250. I eat this one because there's no raid damage going out, and because the fight's almost over. I wouldn't do that. I use my CDs one more time. I don't get much uptime from them. I think I get maybe like, what a third at most?
That's number 1 world, baby. Woo! Grats, Delty, that's huge.
Alright.
Grats, bro.
Moving on. These packs are kind of rough for hunters. There's a shit ton of raid damage going out, and it's not single target. In fact, it's very, very multi-target heavy. In a perfect world, we'd be able to use sappers on these packs while still having them up for a high Astromancer, which is just not going to happen because sappers have a 5-minute cooldown. So I'm going to run up, I'm going to pull the pat here. I'm going to be kind of careful with how long I wait to pull it because I don't want to getting too close to the boss. So I wait, and I pull now. And then for these packs, guys, I'll show you how I do them real fast. I run in, I use an aim shot, or not an aim shot, I use an arcane shot into a multi-shot. I never use aim shot. I run in with another arcane shot, I drop an explosive trap. I don't get great uptime off it, but I do get a decent amount of damage from it. You want to use explosive trap as much as you can, like at the start of these trash packs, because if you don't, guys, you're going to miss out on the damage over time ticks from it. So I think I get a little bit better on the next couple of trash packs like this. I'm going to drink run because we're just constantly running to and from these ads. Tagora, I do have 2 points in improvement pet, yeah. I'd never ever use it though. So I could spec out of it, ideally. I'm just reapplying some sharpening stones here. I only have 5 minutes left. I just want to make sure I have them up for the boss and don't forget. I arcane shot. I multi-shot as I run in. I missed not much of a GCD. I do miss a little bit though, but look at all that damage. I got that explosive trap off as fast as I can, and now I'm getting all these dot ticks as a result. That's a lot of added damage for us, guys. Especially as a class that is not great historically on multi-target fights. These packs are easy. Explosive trap if you can. Don't waste your sappers because you want them for high Astromancer. And then moving on, I'm going to do this. So before this fight, I'm just making sure I've got all my buffs necessary. I feed my pet twice to ensure that he does not go yellow during this fight. I've got all my consumes up. I have at least, 5 minutes plus on all of them. If I don't, I just reapply them to be certain that I don't go 1 second of the fight without them. We all stack up. We get ready to pull. I don't think I do that well this week on this fight, but I do okay. So right there, look at that. I had 6 minutes left on both scrolls for my pet, and I used them again just to be sure. I should have an add-on or a weak R that tells me when like any kind of buff falls off, but I kind of just manually track it for the most part.
How much you want to make it back and throw a football over the mountains?
5, 4. I run in. I arcane shot as I'm running in.
No, that's the next quote, dude.
Pop CDs. Haste spots out. 2 autos for every 1 steady here. Chris and I are doing massive damage right now. We're hitting like 3k. I MD a little bit late there, but that's okay because our tank is super ahead on threat. Drop back down to a simple rotation. I'm still hasted. I still have lust up, so I'm not doing a 5-5-1-1 quite yet. Haste falls off in about 2 seconds. We've got 1 battle squawk up. I immediately transition from a lust into a quick shots, so I'm still not doing a simple rotation. Alright, this part's interesting. When the ads come out, guys, what I have learned to do is you want to get a multi-shot off as fast as you can when these ads come out. As fast as you can. If you need to feign death, do it, but I multi-shot a little bit late this week, and my DPS suffers as a result. Because these ads die so damn fast in my raid, I want to do 3 things. I want to use a sapper when they're all grouped up, I want to use an explosive trap when they're all grouped up, and I want to get at least 1 multi-shot off. You guys may have lower raid damage overall than my guild does, so you may have more time to get those things off. But in my case, I need to get them off as fast as I can, otherwise I miss the window completely. So I don't multi-shot here. I should be multi-shotting here. I lay the trap down, I wait till they're all together, I sapper. A few of the ads aggro to me because I do so much opener damage, and I never get a multi-shot off. So let's look at where we're at right now. Chris is now ahead of me by about 13k DPS. 13k damage, sorry. Not the biggest deal, but if I had gotten a multi-shot off, that would have boosted my numbers significantly. Like, big, big, big numbers. So I got the trap down, I got the sapper down, and notice as soon as I got that sapper down, I started taking a lot of damage. I feigned death instantly. It's a good chance if you do those things fast enough, you're going to get aggro, so have that feigned death at the ready. Boss comes back out, just a moment. I've got no CDs to use here. I don't have quick shots. Lust gets used. Since there are ads at the end right here, guys, I'm using multi-shot on cooldown, no matter what. Ideally, you're kind of using it on cooldown regardless, but on a fight that has ads like this, using it as much as you can is a big, big boost to your damage. Now, I'm hoping for a person that I don't get targeted by arcane missiles, because that's going to stop my rotation a little bit. So I am getting hit. It stops my steady shot by about a second. Not the biggest deal. Multi-shot. Our Fury Ward just dominates here. And then, yeah, kind of just a simple 1-1 here, using multi-shot when I can. Lust makes the rotation a little bit interesting. I've got the debuff dropping here. I should be moving to the right pack right now, but since the boss is transitioning to last phase, it doesn't really matter. I've got my CDs up. I pop my CDs. I get about 5 seconds usage out of them. And that's it. Bracers dropped. Survival Hunter got them. Those are big bracers. And that's pretty much it, guys. It's not a very difficult fight, at least not for us, but the biggest things are maximizing your DPS when the ads come out, and making sure that you keep your CDs on cooldown as best you can. I'll show you guys a couple of these trash packs, because these trash packs are a royal bitch to do. MD goes out. The LOS on this is kind of weird. We have a sheep down, so I don't multi-shot off the bat. I do get an explosive trap down while I'm running away. That was a really good explosive placement. And then guys, your pets are going to take a shit ton of damage here. Like, there's no way around it. Your pets are going to get absolutely chunked for their damage. So I use Tonk quite a bit on these. I use my CDs off the bat, and I think that we kind of almost wipe here, if memory serves properly. No arcane soakers. Nah, we kind of just healed through it, man. Maybe it's the next pack that we almost wipe on. I'm going to keep watching for now because this is definitely the hardest trash in the raid. Kill the Centurion next. On these trash packs, guys, when the whirlwind goes out, you want to get your pet out of there as fast as humanly possible. So you can Tonk, or you can just be ready to pull your pet back. I've been trying to pull my pet back as opposed to using Tonk. Our mage constantly sheeps the ad so that any arcane flurry gets interrupted instantly. But especially on the packs in the actual Kael'thas room, you're going to have the whirlwinds go out, and your pet's going to take a lot of damage. So it might be this pack that we get almost wiped on. Maybe it was the raid before, actually. I remember we had a really rough pull on one of these packs, and we barely survived at the end, but we did follow through. But in comparison to the rest of the trash, this stuff is pretty difficult. So I can understand a lot of people struggling on this trash. I mean, hell, we struggled on it either last week or the week before. I forget which. I wait until it's all close enough. I drop the explosive trap. Great explosive trap usage. I use multi-shot. I use a sapper here, because why not? And look at my damage. Like, my damage is pretty high considering I'm a hunter on a multi-AoE trash pack. Overall, it's looking decent, but I used an explosive trap, I used sapper, and now I'm kind of just doing my rotation. We have one of our shaman die right there. You know what? I do think it was the week before that we died. Unless one of our tanks dies right here, which I don't think they do. Brought my pet out for a bit there. Want to make sure he gets healed before sending him back in. And yeah, if you guys do struggle on these packs, let me know what in particular it is that you're struggling on, and I'll try to answer anything that I can in the comments. Is anyone using drums in your group? I mean, yeah, I use drums quite a bit, but if I want to be Sapper on a fight, I don't use them because Sapper is more DPS overall, assuming it's like a multi-pack boss of some kind. I'm gonna skip ahead here though, guys. I'm probably boring you with the trash stuff. I feel like the trash in here is not that bad in comparison to SSC. The packs in here can get a little bit rough. You need to make sure that the CCs stay up. You need to make sure that you put your pet out on the whirlwinds. I'll watch one pack here just to be safe. We've got a sheep on the left right here, so I am safe to multi-shot. If that sheep was a little bit closer though, I would not be risking it. So whirlwind comes out, I bring my pet back immediately. Your pets will die very fast, that whirlwind, guys. Do not underestimate it. And yeah, it's just pretty cut and dry from there. I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead to KT. KT is the fight that, as a hunter, I'm having the most trouble on overall. KT is a bitch of a fight. The fight goes on forever, so mana becomes a serious issue. And there are so many different things that your pet can die to. So KT, for me, is the most difficult fight to do effectively on Hunter so far. I think it's a hell of a lot more challenging to get right than Vosh, for instance. It's not that I don't enjoy it, it's just there's a shit ton of stuff to watch out for as opposed to other fights. So guys, if you're a dwarf or you're using a gun of some kind, you want to make sure you have a bow here, because if you don't have a bow, you're not going to benefit from your quiver bonuses when you pick up the legendary bow off this boss. So if you do use a gun, generally, I would advise getting a good quiver, good arrows, and like the best bow that you can find, if only to use for this boss. Because the 15% haste that you get from the bow on this boss is going to be a much bigger DPS increase than the one that you're going to get from using a gun, if you're dwarf, or whatever the case may be. So let's skip ahead here. Devil Sword Tooth. I'm kind of just running my pre-flight check here. My weapons are good. I've got 2 elixirs, both good to go. I've got food. Since this fight takes so long, guys, I would advise having all your buffs up for at least 15 minutes when you pull.
14 minutes.
So we run in. The biggest thing for hunters here, and I have fallen victim to this because I'm an idiot, is on Thaladred, we're constantly pulling him to the back of the room, and if he targets you and you're too close, you're going to die. So I pop my CDs on Thaladred every week, but even when I'm fully, buffed up, I'm Bestial Wrath, everything's popped, if I need to run away and keep moving to the back of the room, I do it, because if Thaladred even looks at you for a moment, you could die, and that's everyone in your raid mad at you, that's your entire fight gone. It's just a big, big headache. So watch what I do here. I'm going to pop CDs on the opener, and I'm going to move to the back of the room as fast as I can. Quick shots on the first shot. That's some good RNG. I'm saving Arcane Shot for when I need to move back here, guys. So I want to move back. I'm going to pop Arcane Shot once again. I'm going to stop here. I'm going to get a couple shots off. Multi-shot. I would even say that I'm cutting it a little bit close there. And I just keep moving. I keep moving. I keep moving. I keep moving. Even with me moving so much, I'm still second on DPS right here. I'm still pumping out massive damage, but I'm moving all the while. Now, one big thing to note on this fight, guys, is you want to put your mana pots and your dark runes on cooldown as fast as you can. You want to get as many uses out of each as humanly possible, because if you don't, you're going to run into mana issues. And I think that I almost succeed with using Aspect of the Hawk the entire fight, but I think that I might switch to Viper towards the end. I don't really recall. This next guy's pretty easy, just a simple tank and spank. I think that we have 2 of our hunters MD here. Oh, Shag, why do I delete the arrows? It doesn't really matter, man. It's not much gold. So notice that since we had Judgment of Wisdom there, I didn't need to use a Dark Rune. My mana pot's about halfway through its cooldown. I'll have another one come up soon. This is where it gets complicated, guys. This chick can really wipe your raid really quickly. I take no risks since I have my Steady Shot macro to kill command. Sometimes my pet will try to go and attack her if I'm using the proper macro for it. I don't risk it at all. I just completely dismiss my pet here. I don't take any chances. So right after that guy dies, you can right click dismiss your pet. That's probably the best move. I wouldn't use your tonk there. I use it because I'm an idiot. Our warlock gets threat. I get barely... Okay, so notice how I'm barely running in, and as soon as I'm able to attack, that is where I stay, and that's where I attack. You want to keep max range here, no matter what. So I misdirected the warlock that's tanking here. He's got a big threat lead at this point, so I'm pretty much good to go. I step back a little bit. I step back in tentatively, making sure that I'm just barely in range to do damage. And once she's in a safe spot, it becomes pretty easy. We've got a tank that soaks the conflag rates. Range just pump, and we're looking good. So the engineer comes out next. He can be a little bit weird because the bombs can sometimes hit your pet. If your pet's getting hit by bombs, even just a single one, bring your pet back out and then send him back in later. You just want to play it safe. This guy's kind of wonky. He's not bad in comparison to Darkener and the chick that we just killed, but already my pet's at half HP. So I'm already tonking. I pop CDs here. Our Warlock pulls threat here and one of our healers dies. I almost die. Fortunately, I don't die fully. Stamina gear is important, guys. Never discount that. So I do use a Dark Rune. It's now on cooldown. I've got mana pot up. I think that I'm going to pop a Fel mana as soon as the weapons come out. So one big thing, guys, that I probably should have went over at the beginning of this fight is plan out your CDs here. If you have a rough estimate of like how long it takes for each phase for your particular guild and raid, plan out how many times you can use CDs and when the optimal times to use them are. I use them on Thaladred on the opener. I use them on the Master Engineer. And then I use them again once all 4 of the guys are rezzed, right? That's when we use our Lust, and then once it comes up in the last phase, I pretty much just keep it on cooldown. So right here, I run in. I should already be in position, but I run in to get a Sapper off. I pop an Explosive Trap before the Sapper, just because it's got a longer wind-up time. It's got the 2-second wind-up time. I use my Sapper. I run out. I Arcane Shot on the way out. Steady Shot, multi-shot, boom. And then, guys, if you're a hunter, there's a really good chance that you're going to have to tank the bow way up here in the corner. We've got our survival hunter doing it. He takes Blessing of Salvation off for it, and he just tanks the bow over there. Once everything here is dead, except for, I think, Devastation, the axe, all the range switched to the bow. One thing to watch for here is your pet health, because your pet can get owned very fast by the axe's whirlwind. So right here, my pet starts taking a little bit of damage. I pull him back. I tonk him. I send him back in. I sent him back in on nothing here. Ideally, I'd send it back on the shield right here since it's still alive, but I think I just did not want to risk it. Bow dies. I run up. I grab the bow. I'm also going to grab a dagger and a sword. I've got a bow macro for KT right here. If you guys don't have the macro, let me know. I'll probably post it in the comments. I grab 1 Infinity Blade, and I grab 1 Warp Slicer. Alright, so this is important. You want to make sure that you equip the dagger in your main hand, not your offhand. You want to make sure that you get the bow equipped, and that the arrows are also equipped. So right here, I'm going to spam the macro. I've got just enough bag slots to use the arrows in here. And then one other thing that I do here, guys, if you really want to try hard on this, I've got the dagger in the main hand, sword in the offhand. I can use Fel Sharpening Stones on these just to increase my DPS a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Hit my main hand with a sharpened blade. Hit my offhand with a sharpened blade. And I'm positioning myself towards the back of the room from whence the Aldred comes out. I've got both weapons enchanted now. I'm gonna wait for Lust to come out, and I'm gonna use my CDs. I don't know what happens here, but the Sanguinar guy
Got it.
somehow gets onto one of our healers, so I MD our tank and throw him back onto our melee up there. We get bad RNG here. Thaladred's towards the front of the room. You want him in the back as far away as you can, and we get a really bad conflagrate here.
What?
Do we wipe here? I think we do. We do wipe on this, yeah. Okay. I'm gonna skip ahead to where I just was. Alright. Round 2, ads revived in 5 seconds. I'm cutting it very close to the sharpening stones.
Alright, we're booling.
I'm starting this phase with about 2/3
No,
mana.
fuck
That's
you.
not really ideal, but it is what it is. Run back in, I arcane shot, city shot, multi shot. And I don't pop CDs quite yet, but I do very soon. Alright. Lust comes out, I pop CDs. I'm not using a haste pot here, guys. Mana is simply too important in this fight.
Ooh, not good.
I get out of range because our healer has threat up in the front. Not a good spot to be. You want people in the back having threat on this guy. The closer to the front this guy gets, the more risky the fight becomes. So you want to keep him as far back as you can. I'm even cutting it close here by being just a little bit too close for comfort.
Jesus Christ.
Alright, so once this guy dies, this is where it gets interesting. I'm going to set my pet in on Lord Sanguinar and then the engineer afterwards. So make sure my pet's there, and then I start DPS on Grand Astromancer. Don't send your pet in on Grand Astromancer, guys. Put your pet in on either the engineer or Sanguinar so that your pet can have maximum uptime, and then DPS the ranged chick. That's what most raids should be doing as far as I know. Some raids, I think, have their hunters attack the melee ads. We don't do that. Notice here how I'm getting kind of low on mana because we've got no Judgment of Wisdom during this phase. So I'm going to wait for the Fell Mana Potion to come up. I'm going to use it right as KT's coming out. And then this is where everything goes wrong for me. This is why I can't seem to do well in this fight. I miss the flame strikes visually. I don't really know what they look like, so I don't pull my pet back out. My pet just dies instantly,
No.
even with max fire resistance the entire time. Fell Mana Pot, keep it on cooldown. I'm doing good on DPS at this point, right? My Tonk, remote control, CCs me. I'm going to MD here to make sure that my tanks don't suffer. My CDs did just come back up, so I'm going to pop them with this Lust. I think the egg comes out pretty soon. Yep.
My fucking pet, dude! What?
So you can hear how mad I am. There was a little flame strike that went out. I did not see my pet there. My pet died and someone else's pet died as well. I res my pet, kill the egg, put my pet back on a Kael'thas. This is already a big deal, guys, because I'm wasting a bunch of mana that I'm desperately going to need to get my pet back out, and my pet's already going to be doing 25% less damage. So automatically, if you're going for like a top rank, I'm pretty much out of the running at this point because my pet died. Make sure you're watching for the flame strikes. I have not been. I have suffered as a result. Pyroblast is here. The interrupt comes out. And moving forward for me, I'm just going to watch the ground here to ensure that any flame strike gets seen by me and I bring my pet back. I started moving a little bit to the right because I saw that Arcade was MC'd.
Again?
I can wing clip him. Alright, so my pet dies again here. Let's see how. I'm at 35, 57, 06. Alright. You can see the little animation right here. The animation's building. My pet is still in because I'm an idiot. I should be pulling him out. And my pet gets owned.
Again?
I get mad. Want to res my pet once again. And then I need to swap to Aspect of the Viper here pretty soon. I'm on the egg. I'm basically completely
Man, scuffed attempt.
I'm mad at myself. You can hear me mad at myself in the background. This is just bad gameplay on my part, guys. Like, I was doing pretty well up until this point, but once your pet dies even once, let alone twice, it's kind of just game over. Fortunately, I've got some time here to wait for my Fel Mana CD to come back up.
I think I'll be good actually.
The animation comes out. I'm going to buff my pet with 2 scrolls, even though I think he dies even again. So I think my pet dies 3 times in total. That was a bad steady shot on my part. I bring my pet back because of the Flame Strike. Finally, I do it right. Pop CDs. My pet almost dies there. Due to one of the clouds, I think. I send him back in, and he starts taking a massive amount of damage. So I pull him back out, but I think that he dies again regardless. Yeah, I moved my pet into a bad spot there.
Again, very cool. Pressing him for the last time, hopefully. Jesus fucking Christ. Come on, bitch. 3 seconds, 3 seconds, 3 seconds.
Now notice at this point, guys, my pet has died so much that I was number 1 for most of the fight, and now I'm almost 50k DPS behind. In fact, I'm more than 50k DPS behind at this point. Any hope for a good parse died on the first pet death. Every pet death afterwards was just more fuel to the fire in that regard. I should be dark runing here, but I think that I'm confident in my mana. He finally dies. We've got our Enhance and our Arms Warrior dead. Kind of minimal deaths, all things considered, but yeah, not a good KT. My overall raid DPS suffered majorly as a result. Chris ended with almost 50k more DPS than I did on that fight, which is no bueno. And yeah, KT is something I definitely need to work on. I think that it's my biggest weakness right now, on Warcraft logs especially. So that's it for TK. Not a very difficult raid. I think it's a lot of fun, except for KT. If you guys have any questions, please leave them. As always, I'll do my best to answer them. I've got a Hunter Discord. If you guys ever have Hunter questions, want to get better, or you want to help others, feel free to join it. I'll post it below as well. And yeah, happy Sunday, guys. Hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you next time. All right, adios.